Three, two, one. Greeting, foolish mortals. First off, welcome back to my channel. I missed you all very much. Second off, what the effing HE double hockey sticks is going on in the state of Missouri? Now, a bit of backstory. I moved to Missouri from San Diego following 18 months of homelessness. I'm never forgiving my parents for that, by the way. And it's been a massive culture shock. Like, I am still adjusting to Missouri, and one of the areas where I'm still adjusting is the fact that I constantly need to advocate for myself in the medical field because people just are not taking me seriously, or if they are taking me seriously, then they're doing a half-assed job at doing like what the heck they're supposed to do. Okay, so I haven't updated this playlist in a hot minute. And today I'm just going to simply mash everything together. So, first off, this past December 2025, I was employed at the U.S. Postal Service as a package sorter for like 26 days before I was terminated. It was an interesting job. But anyway, one of the things that happened was that on my first day, I was walking around outside the building because I didn't know where I was supposed to enter. I stepped on a patch of black ice and I slipped. It was honestly just one of those things where if there was a camera on me, everyone would be laughing. I landed on my butt and I was saying to one of the other people who was there, "It's fine, I got a sick butt for a reason, LOL." However, then I start to experience a lot of pain, like not even an hour after that happened, and I had a massive bruise on my butt. Explain to me why I wasn't taken to the urgent care center that day, but the next day. I swear, it's a good thing my mom's not a doctor, otherwise the medical malpractice lawsuit would be through the roof. But yeah, anyway, while I'm there at the urgent care center, they want me to pee in a cup so that way they can do a pregnancy test before they do the x-ray. I say to them, I am not taking the urine test, and they're all like, then I guess you're not having an x-ray. I look at them and I say to them, the last time I had sex, I was 11 years old, and yes, it was non-consensual. Do you think I'm pregnant? And just, yeah, I'll tell you what, they then get me into the x-ray room and just, anyway, turns out that I didn't have a break in my spine, which is good, except for the fact that I was on my feet for 4 hours a day. There was one day when the boss had me on my feet for 8 hours, and I was crying at like the 6 hour mark, and I was all like, no, I can do it, because I am not a quitter, okay? But just, yeah, anyway, from that day on, I worked 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. At the end of everything, I made over $800, which honestly isn't bad at all. I worked, the price was $20.90 an hour, which is really good considering that I'm in the state of Missouri, where the minimum wage is like $11, I want to say, $11.50. But anyway, like on the last week of me working there, I was told that I'd have to lift up more than like 60 pounds, which, okay, first off, when I went in for my interview, the guy who interviewed me said that I'd be lifting no more than like 25, 30 pounds at a time. So I don't know who was speaking with a forked tongue. But yeah, anyways, so I then say to Corey, he was the guy who I was working with that day. Corey, I fell my first day on the job. I still got a giant bruise on my butt. And my body telling me that I lift anything heavier than 25, 30 pounds, then my body's gonna poop out on me. And he's all like, okay, you know your body, you're just going by what your body says. I can respect that. And just, yeah, anyway, I'll tell you what, he is extremely sweet. He did almost all the heavy packages. There was like one or two heavy packages where I was all like, I can do this. Pick it up, toss it into the bin where it goes, and just, Yeah, exactly. Second WTF Missouri healthcare horror story that happened was that, so literally like my first week on the job, I had two separate doctor's appointments, and one of those doctor's appointment was for a cardiologist. Now, I had been literally nagging at my primary care physician, my PCP. I'm going to continue calling her my PCP for the rest of the video to make it easier on myself. It was literally like pulling teeth getting her to send out referrals. I mean, just like my neurologist took like 2 years for her to send a referral in. And then I ended up going with a different neurologist because of reasons. I'll post that story up here for you all to look at that. But just, yeah. Anyway, what happened was that when I went to go see the cardiologist, he is a man of a certain minority, so I'm just going to call him Dr. Wang. Please note that his name isn't Dr. Wang and that he's not Chinese. That's just what I'm thinking of right now. But he kept going from point A to point B all the way down to point Z. I mean, it was all like, he was talking like a million miles per hour, and he also had a really sick, really heavy, really difficult to understand accent because I'm deaf, I have hearing loss, and I cannot understand most people who have a really heavy accent. And yeah, anyway, I'll tell you what happened. What happened was that I kept, what's going on with my eyes? They're bouncing back and forth a lot. Oh well. But anyway, what happened was that my eyes are acting really goofy right now. So what happened with that? He kept zipping from. Well, he just kept bouncing in between subjects without any warning. I was literally all like, "Calm down." Which, by the way, I was recently diagnosed with having ADHD and ADD, which explains a lot. But yeah, anyway, at one point he takes a stethoscope, jams it into the side of my boob, and I'm all like, "Sir, remove your hand from my boob right now, or else you're gonna see how pissed you can make a Hispanic woman." He backs away using the claim, "I'm a doctor, I have to listen to your heart." And I'm all like, "There are other ways that you can listen to my heart. Push it to the front of my chest, hold it to my back, but do not in any circumstances think you can get away with being a pervert." But just, yeah. I'll tell you what, however, directly after the appointment, I go to the woman on the front desk and I say to her, "I am not seeing that doctor again. I don't care what it takes. Do not put me in the same room as him." And she's all like, "Okay," because apparently that isn't the first time that they had an issue with Dr. Wang. But just, yeah. Anyway, next weird thing that happened was that, so I go see my primary care physician. They are in Branson. I am in like 30 minutes away from them. So it was convenient when I was living in Branson, but I no longer live in Branson. I live like half an hour away. For those of you who love geography, please don't try and put that together. I had a stalker years ago, but anyway, when I went and saw my primary care physician the last time, I say to her, "Hey, I will be switching doctors because one thing, half an hour travel time. My parents are elderly. And two, she is not listening to me. I mean, like, I expressed the concern to her, and she's all like, "Oh, no, it's not XYZ. It's probably something else." And just, yeah, I'll tell you what. However, it was also like pulling teeth getting my PCP to send out referrals. Just like, I'll tell you what. However, most of the referrals I got into my therapist, who is excellent. I absolutely love Eustachius. Yes, I realize that Eustachius is extremely controversial. However, I don't hate them for their controversies. They just do what they do. And just, yes. Anyway, so when I went and saw her this last time, it was for an appointment where I believe that I may have plantar fasciitis, which I cannot say that last word right. Do not come for me in the comments. But just, yeah. Anyway, when I go in there, she's rushing me along. I mean, like, she's literally all like, I don't know if she's not on her ADHD medication. I don't know if she has ADHD medication. Or if she was having a bad day, or if there was something that she wanted to get to at home. So she felt like she had to rush me along in order to get home again. But just, yeah, anyway, that wasn't the last time I saw her, but that was the time before the last time I saw her. When I saw her the last time, I laid down my issues with her, and I say to her, I'd like to see another primary care physician, because I was essentially just firing her. Also, please understand that at this time, the Cox Health portal was down for whatever reason. I didn't know at the time. And just, yeah. Anyway, what happened was that she said to me, oh, Cox Health portal's down because it's no longer active. We're using XYZ Health portal. I go and download it, like, right then and there. And I say to her, I did not know that. Is there a reason why I didn't know that? And she said, we sent out an email. Most of my emails just go to my junk folder. But anyway, sorry, ADHD moment, completely lost track of what I was talking about. So yeah, anyway, this next story is a doozy. So I quickly set up an appointment with a new PCP, who is the same PCP that my mama sees. And on the day of my appointment, I log into my portal because I'm all like, oh, I need to check in for my appointment. Mind you, this was like an hour before the appointment. So mom and I would be leaving in like 15, 20 minutes to get there. So it's like 10 minutes away from where we live. And I see that my appointment's been canceled because one particular PCP who I was going to see was not in fact accepting new patients. What the hell? Hurts to say. But anyway, I then called the doctor's office either that day or the next day, and I'm all like, WTF. However, good news though, I was able to get in to see another PCP in the same office because there's two female PCPs. And one of them's my mom PCP. However, I was unable to see her because she wasn't accepting new patients, which is code for we don't want anything to do with you. But, yeah. Anyway, I got a new PCP. Hopefully, this one won't be a repeat of what I was seeing with my primary care physician, my old PCP, where it was literally like me asking her, hey, can you refer me to XYZ? No, I don't want to do that. Just, I never had this issue when I was living in California. Never had this issue when I was living in Texas. Never had this issue when I was living in Arizona. So this is exclusively a Missourian thing, which I know not true, not fair. However, what the hell, Missouri?